about his
I,
skill set?
I think, Katie, coming out of camp, we wanted to get both of those young men in a game fairly early in the year based on the camp that they had had. So the door was open. Fine with Mackey's game. He's going to learn by watching and by playing. So he comes out, and this will be a fast game in here tonight, and Sorty can skate with the best of them. So it's the right place for him to go in.
Sam Ryan moves up to the top line. Just obviously he's got chemistry with Barkov, but you also factor in the old chemistry with Rodriguez from the Buffalo days. How far do you go back?
No, I didn't factor that in. What we were doing, I didn't think we were getting a whole heck of a lot out of one of our lines, and I kind of scavenged it to try to load two up to go into the third. And then I liked what I saw, so that's kind of how that went. We have historically three pretty solid offensive lines, and the fourth line is usually pretty effective at getting pucks to the net. I didn't think that I had spread the offense out over three lines with the Bennett injury and didn't think we were getting enough out of three lines. So I built kind of two and let the other guys skate.
Goaltender tonight, Coach?
Bob goes.
Well, I'm just curious what you thought of Samoskevich when he was in there.
Oh, you know what? You could see it right away. He's got these hand skills and this release, and he can make plays, and he's going to be a really good NHL player. He's got to play a bunch of minutes to develop that game. And then he has what all young players have to learn is what the difference in time and space is like in the NHL, how much room you have, how fast you got to move, how to make plays. And that's he's got to get pro experience, whether it's the National League or the American League. He's just got to play games.
Mental toughness is always important, but how much more critical does that become given the team start?
Yeah, I always consider the first 20 games the start. So this is all part of the journey. Wherever you face a little adversity, if you lose two games in a row, it's a little bit edgy, as it should be, and you want to encourage that, right? But at the same time, we want to make sure that we're a confident group.
Some, these heated matchups with New Jersey and Florida last year.
Yeah.
Do you expect that to carry over this season?
I hope so. Because I think we felt that just about every team we played. If we play our game, it's a fairly physical game, and it's a really intense, tight gap game. So if we get into quiet games, there's probably something wrong with ours. So yeah, I think they'll be physical, they'll be edgy.
Well, what's your philosophy behind seeing young players grow that you have on your roster? Is it a lot of video work? Is it a lot of teaching on the bench?
Yeah.
How do you go about that?
Be correcting on the bench. I think young players, video for sure. So all our young players will go through, and we don't show every minute, but they'll do video with the coaches after every game. Just the basic systems. Every team has their own style of game and want to fit that in. I would say you have to be respectful of a young player's potentially fragile confidence. So you're more mindful of how you say something to him. You can say whatever you need to say to Matthew Tkachuk very directly. He's not going to lose every confidence, and he'll understand what you're talking about. With younger players, a little bit, I don't know if patience is the right word. It's I guess a little more fatherly when you've got a young player that you want to be mindful about how they're going to take the information. It's not just the hockey, it's how you present it to them, how they feel about themselves. God, like the young players haven't been here long enough for you to have an opinion on how they should look, right? You're still learning about them and their game, so a little more careful with the young
I'm
guys.
curious though, has that changed over the years? Like,
No.
do you have to do a little more coddling today than it was maybe 15 years ago?
I don't think so. I think how you deliver the message is different, but you go back 25 years ago, there weren't a lot of really young players in the league. Yep, the first round picks. I clearly remember, this is a long time, Pat Burns trying to explain to a reporter that Joe Thornton had to put on 20 more pounds before he was ready to play, and that's why he was on the fourth line. So this is an enormous man, right? It was a different time. So I think, I don't think that these guys are necessarily any less tough. I think they're better educated about the game. So there is a higher importance on the why. You do need to show them because they're interested. And they've been watching hockey their whole lives in a way that probably you and I. Well, I'm way older than you, sorry, but I got 3 channels at home, so I didn't watch as much hockey as these guys get every game that's played. So they need the why more than players in the past.
You mentioned that this could be a physical, edgy matchup, but what is the biggest overall challenge that the Devils present?
Yeah, I think that was. It's not basically necessarily the style of game. I think that the original question is almost like New Jersey and potentially Florida the year prior weren't overly physical teams, and then we got together and we played fairly early in the year last year, and it got a little edgy, and there was some barking going on. This is more of a speed-based game, and we're both going to try to do the same thing to each other. From the red line to the tops of the circles in each end, coming back to your end, you've got to control that ice. These guys will make plays at the line with 4, and they've got. I would say last year I would call them they would have some risk in their game, but after you make the play 20 times, it's not risk, it's just a good play, right? So they make plays crossing the line. They cause an awful lot of chaos because of that. If you don't have it sorted by the time they hit your line, you got a problem.
How dangerous a player has Jack Hughes become in these 5 years?
It's been that long?
Yeah.
No wonder why I'm that old. Yeah, like all of these great young players, they make the league because they have one specific skill set that allows it. It's at NHL. And I would say Samoskevich is the same thing. His hands and his shot are right there already. And then they just start adding things. So he's very talented, very shifty, creative player. And now he just, every year you get a little stronger, you get a little faster, you understand the systems, you understand the league. That's all part of the process that they've gone here. I mean, they had a bunch of years where they had these young guys, and they've, now they're good pros.
Curious to, similar question about Nico Hischier, his 200-foot game, what challenges that represents?
Same as Barkov's, right? Different statured men, but almost the exact same game. Really skilled guys, really good speed, but committed to being on the right, honest players, right players, right? So you got a guy that can shut the other team down. It's interesting that they'll probably, a very good chance they go head-to-head tonight, which would be probably both our choices. If we were playing this game in Florida, that may be happening as well. So the two, potential Selke and a Selke Award winner going head-to-head.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.